Hey, what is up guys, GuitarRock here, welcome back to another Nikke Goddess of Victory video. Now let's talk about Kraken. With all the pilgrims that have arrived in the 3rd anniversary of Nikke, we now have Nayuta and of course LIBERALIO. So all things considered, this is going to be an updated Kraken guide for you guys, and obviously with all these new pilgrims, it's going to make things much easier. So for those of you who are not aware though, right now we definitely have a much more simpler system in terms of tackling our weekly boss. Alright, this time it's no longer daily but weekly. Alright, you can see you only need to do it once per week, and then you can do the weekly quick battle throughout in the entire week. So I feel like auto is probably going to be less important because you're only going to do it once per week. Now there's 5 different bosses right here that you can do: Kraken, Mirror Container, Indie Villa, Ultra, and of course Harvester. Now obviously you can farm specific gears depending on who you're fighting. For example, if you're trying to get a arm equipment, you should be fighting anomaly Mirror Container, and if you're trying to get the torso, then you need to fight Indie Villa. However, Kraken is the best boss to farm because it's gonna give you this thing called the Rocks, which is the claimable custom module. The Rocks is by far the most important thing in this game for endgame. Alright, so that's going to be how it is. Now, to farm gears generally, my advice is to go through co-op. So in the co-op shop, you ideally want to buy this thing right here. This thing is going to give you a gear selector. Less RNG, alright? You could be farming Indie Villa for like 10 weeks and you couldn't even get the one that you want, right? I noticed a lot of players don't like to do co-op, but co-op is going to make a lot of sense. You are going to be able to just use a selector for a specific T9 equipment that you want, right? From any of these specific manufacturer, and then you can select a specific one. You want the headpiece, you want the arm. There's no RNG required. It's just literally a selector. It's just way less hassle. So Kraken is also weak to win, alright, specifically. That means both Nayuta and LIBERALIO is going to be strong right here. Now let's first talk about the stats that I have on my characters, alright? So this is going to be dependent on you as well, so hopefully you guys can use this as a reference. Now my Scarlet Black Shadow has the best gear, best equipment. The most important thing that you want to look at is going to be attack percent, which is this number right here, and of course the elemental damage dealt percent. This too is going to give you a lot of boost in terms of prioritizing your DPS characters generally, right? So Scarlet Black Shadow, I'm going to have 94% elemental damage dealt and 21% attack, whereas on LIBERALIO I only have 83% and 9% attack. So obviously that can be improved a little bit. I need to basically try to get a higher score right there. But Nayuta on the other hand, she has 63% elemental damage dealt and 10 or 11% attack right there, right? So that's going to be the gears right here. I'm out of rocks, man. Rocks is so scarce. So with that, I'll show you guys a bunch of strategy that you want to pay attention to with Kraken. But first things first, this video is sponsored by EnjoyGM.com. Alright, if you guys are not aware what EnjoyGM is, it's a service that provides you fast, secure, and affordable recharge top-up website for plenty of gacha games. Now, how is this possible? As you can see, there's plenty of games right here, including some of the live stream services like Bigo Live as well, but there's PUBG, Zelda Zone Zero, Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Chaos Zero Nightmare, Duet Night Abyss, and all of these are going to have their own specific packages available in them. Now let's jump into Nikke. I will show you guys how this website works. And you can see some of these discounts are insane. It goes up to 30% depending on what you're trying to get. Now you might be wondering, GuitarRock, how can this be so cheap? EnjoyGM basically have a partnership with some of the company that allows them to bypass certain store fees. If you guys are not aware, with Play Store and App Store from the Apple, there's going to be some extra layer of fees that they have to pay just so that they can put the games in those particular platform, right? So which is why when you top up via this website, it's going to be way cheaper. Now, you might be wondering, hey, I'm a bit worried, what if my account get banned if I recharge on this website? Don't worry about it because EnjoyGM ensures you that there will be 0 account bans from this website. You can see right here, even in the Nikke's web, to basically top up, you only need 2 things, which is your UID and your server specifically. So you only need those things. There's no password needed. They're not going to steal your account. So what you can do, you can also try to top up for your friend, alright, to give your friend a gift. Obviously, the instructions varies from game to game. For example, if you want to top up specifically for Reverse 1999, then you have to use a different method. Right here, you can see the Bluepock and Facebook login specifically. So just follow the instructions right here that's mentioned below on how to top up for the game that you're topping up for. Now keep in mind, not all packages are available right here. If you're trying to get the $60 gacha skin, then you still have to purchase it via the game. So make sure you guys try to double check the website if the packages that you want are going to be available right there. So if you guys are interested, I'll have my referral link in the description below. Big shout out to NJGM for sponsoring today's video. So before we proceed with the strategy or the teams, first we gotta talk about the technique or the methods of dealing with Kraken, right? Notice Kraken is going to have the tentacles at the left or the right. This is going to spawn randomly. Now the first couple of tentacles, you can basically just straight up ignore them. You don't really need to get rid of them. You don't really need to like do anything. So every few seconds, Kraken is going to charge up and do the AoE damage to all your characters. Now this is going to get progressively stronger. The first instance is going to do about like 10% of your HP. Now the second instance is going to start doing like about 30 to 40% of your HP. Now the third instance, that is going to be where it's going to be a bit scary. The AoE is going to be able to do like almost 80 to 90% of your HP. Sometimes can even kill your characters if you're not careful. So ideally when the third instance is about to hit you, you want to take cover. Alright, but if you're playing on PC, you want to just press spacebar for that particular instance, just so that you use your cover for, you know, to take the damage over, right? Now if you are playing and you're using Nayuta, obviously that's going to not be a big problem. You can definitely heal for sure. Now the third instance is the one that you want to be looking out for. Now once the third instance comes, then now you can worry about getting rid of the tentacles. So the Kraken is going to enter this QTE phase, and that's going to require you to basically hit all three of that circle, right? But ideally, if you're just looking to auto Kraken, you can use this particular team right here, right? Nayuta is going to be the one bursting, and this is going to be more than sufficient enough, alright? Again, with Kraken, if you guys are not aware with any of these bosses, you just gotta beat them up to level 7 to get the max rewards. You don't need to beat them up to level 10. 7, level 8, level 9 will give you the same rewards all the way throughout. So if you're just looking for a straight up, a simple, easy auto team, no fuss, no hassle whatsoever, then you can go with Little Mermaid, with Nayuta, and then of course Scarlet Black Shadow and LIBERALIO.
Tis taken me longer than usual.
Okay, so this is going to be one of the more underrated teams, I would say, for SPS and LIBERALIO. Maid Mask and Maid Anchor, they are going to be able to complement each other, and this is going to be Scarlet Black Shadow's best team by far. Alright, if you are looking to basically just boost Scarlet Black Shadow, this is going to be the team. Now the reason is because Scarlet Black Shadow does distributed damage, and Maid Mask and Maid Anchor excels in boosting distributed damage. Now LIBERALIO herself doesn't really do distributed damage, but this is going to basically just prioritize on, you know, buffing your Scarlet Black Shadow. And notice that green bar at the bottom of the HP, that is going to be coming from Maid Anchor's buffs as well. So that is going to be some sort of shield. Basically any excess healing converts into that particular green bar, and it acts as a shield, right? Similar to Crown, but it's different type of shield, and very useful if you're trying to basically just, you know, take a bunch of hits from Kraken. As you can see, hands-free currently up to times, I would say about the second instance. This is going to be the second instance, right? Now the third instance, this is going to be the very interesting one. Can we survive the third instance with Maid Mask and Maid Anchor? Now the only a little bit of scary little determining factor is going to be the rocket right there, right? So that's the third instance. Ideally, seems to be pretty consistent, and we are able to heal back up consistently. Okay, let me get rid of these rockets. That is going to be the difficult part of all of these rockets. Is like with Nayuta, you can basically just get rid of those rockets, no problem. But with this particular team, you will have to semi-manual a little bit. Get rid of the tentacles after the third phase. And as you can see, should be able to get rid of these as well. Okay, get rid of the tentacle. So now we can semi-auto a little bit. That thing, man, that yellow laser, that takes a bunch of damage. Holy, look at that. Okay, take cover at the right time. So this one can easily carry you, this particular one. So I'm gonna take cover right here and just focus on this particular one, this particular phase. If you're trying to, you know, get rid of Kraken, you sort of have to go through that phase, right? as you can see, I think we got this. Alright, so with one or two more bursts, can't see what's happening. But the last phase, you want to get rid of the left and right tentacles. This particular phase is a bit annoying.
Have a taste of adventure.
Can't see what's happening. Okay. Yep. So I think we managed to beat that with 30 seconds left on the clock. Of course, you can still improve this, but this is going to be one of the more budget-friendly teams in terms of if you don't have Nayuta, you don't have Crown, this one can definitely do it for you, right? And I do think that this team is underrated, but in my opinion, I would say this is a very comfortable team. As you can see, Scarlet Black Shadow is going to get boosted a ton by that particular damage. I actually like this team a lot more than the Nayuta Crown team. Now, whether or not this is going to be cheaper or more expensive, it depends on who you have, right? But you know, give this team a shot, you're not gonna regret it. Okay, so with the Crown and Nayuta team, as you can see, same concept. This one is going to be much more auto-friendly in the first couple of phases, right? Because Nayuta, every time she converts, every time she bursts, she's going to be able to wipe those rockets out. Now the rockets is going to be what's annoying and what's going to cause the consistency or inconsistency of you be able to beat Kraken. Now if you are looking to that, to basically like kill Kraken, then yeah, this is going to be one of the team that you can use. Obviously, is this going to be better than the Mid Mask and Mid Anchor? Now in terms of the damage difference, there's going to be a little bit of varied difference, but both are going to be able to do it just fine. But it's just whichever that you want in terms of the convenience. I feel like this one can be much more hands-off as well, because you know, every time the rockets come, you are going to be able to get rid of them. So let me see if I can show that right here. So right now this is going to be, I'm still hands-offing, I'm just switching between the characters. But right about now, the boss is going to fire those rockets, and you can see Nayuta's burst is going to just wipe them all out because of the AoE, right? So the boss is going to do the third one, and you can see that is very risky. Now the problem is going to be the yellow bullets. Not this one, this is just a regular rocket. But you'll see later on. Let me get rid of this, alright? Which the boss sometimes fires as well. This one, the yellow lasers thing. That is going to be very, very painful. So now we're going to start to get rid of the tentacles. So one on the left, and I believe take cover for that. So ideally, if you want to just be safe, just take cover for the okay, that's going to hit Crown. That's just fine. So you're gonna take cover during this one as well, just to be safe. Okay, so the boss is gonna open up the core right about now. So the boss is going to go underground. So just everybody just take cover and let Siren do the thing. So she is, you can either use Crown, you can use Siren, whoever, and then, you know, try to make sure that everybody is taking cover during that period, so only one character is going to focus. Especially if you're on the burst, that is going to be much more, much easier. Now you can see this strat is a little bit faster, right? Definitely I can get rid of the boss without needing to worry about getting rid of the tentacles after. This is definitely a way better strat if you are just trying to get rid of the boss up to level 10, right? You're just trying to kill the boss. I'm going to show you guys the damage comparison between both strategies. Alright, again, about there, right? 5.4. Now, much more evenly distributed damage, whereas, you know, both Liberalia and Scarlet Black Shadow are going to receive about the same buffs. Also, one thing that you can observe right here is this one is going to be faster by about 12 seconds, alright? That's going to be a little bit of difference right there. Now, of course, it depends on your investment, right? So in terms of the amount of time, now, in terms of damage, Scarlet Black Shadow and Liberalia, they are actually both doing less damage. Surprisingly, Mid Mask and Mid Anchor's buffs are going to be quite insane, but the reason why we are doing more overall is because Nayuta's own damage. Nayuta is going to be able to basically offset that, right? So with Little Mermaid as well, it seems like we are getting more damage overall, right? So that seems to be the case generally. Right now, it seems like, you know, it's going to be a plus minus 5 to 10%, but that's going to be the case. So let me try out with Crown and see if this is going to be any different, right? So with Crown, it's a little bit tricky because of the, not this particular yellow missiles, but the rockets incoming later on, right? That's going to be something that, keep in mind that because if you're using Crown, you do have the shield, alright? So you are going to be able to take the hits, but it does depend on how it goes. Ideally, Nayuta can wipe out the rockets, but the rockets can be very painful, especially if you are just focusing, they are all focusing on one character, sometimes they can die. So you gotta be very, very careful. And we're gonna be able to look out on that once we beat about 2 phases of the boss AoE attack, right? Okay, so now the boss is gonna do a third one after that. Look at the yellow missiles incoming, right? That's very, very painful. And this is the one that I'm talking about, right? So it's very, very painful. If you don't get rid of them, you can actually die from that. So you gotta be very, very careful. Okay.
Under the light of the kingdom.
Again with the rockets. If you want to, you can get rid of the tentacles as well, but it's not 100% needed. Let's see if this is faster, right? Still feel like Nayuta's strat is going to be a bit faster. Yeah, so this one we have to get rid of the tentacles. Left and right. Because this one is a little bit slower.
Under the light of the kingdom.
So tentacles left and right. Ooh, that laser at the end. That's quite painful as well. Surprisingly, with this particular strat, it's slower than the main mask and main anchors one, it seems like, on average, right? But still, if you want to kill Kraken, this is going to be sufficient enough with Crown as the burst. Depends on who you're trying to tackle, right? But Nayuta did less if she doesn't burst. So I think that's like a little bit of a waste. I feel like you should let Nayuta burst, not Crown. But that depends on the gears and everything, right? So looking at the comparison right here, let me turn on my face cam so you guys can see. 241, 224, 236. This one is the slowest out of the 3, right? With Crown bursting, right? And I don't think it's worth it to let Crown burst anymore. It seems like this is going to be a much more comfortable strat. Now Scarlet Black Shadow does more a little bit here, but that shows that Crown's buffs are going to be better than Nayuta's buffs, right? Because you can see SBS did more, and not only does SBS did more, LIBERALIO also do more. But the Nayuta bursting, because she does a lot of personal damage on her own, she's gonna offset that. Even Little Mermaid is doing more, right? You guys can see. So Crown has the better buffs, alright? She has the better buffs in terms of providing buff to the team. But in terms of giving overall damage, Nayuta is still going to be better because she is also going to have a higher personal damage. But all in all, these 3 strategies right now, you know, all of these 3 can work, but it seems like Nayuta bursting is going to be the best, the most comfortable strat, especially if you're looking to auto. If you're looking to just reach level 7 comfortably, then you can basically just go with that. Just hands off as long as you have a pretty good, decent substats on the gears and stuff, right? But if you want to go with the second best option, then surprisingly the mid mask and mid anchor, I hope more people bring more attention to this team because this is going to be a very, very good team. And in the long run, this is probably going to be a team that you're going to use in most solo raids, because in solo raids you're going to need 5 teams, right? That's going to be when you're going to split out your supports, right? You're going to have Crown in one team, Nayuta in one more team, and then you're going to have main mask and main anchor in one more team. Most likely this is going to be the one that majority of the players are going to use in the upcoming solo raids and stuff. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this particular video. I hope you guys are aware of the best strategy for Kraken right now. This is gonna be the updated guide with Nayuta and LIBERALIO in the equation. With that being said, that's gonna be it for this particular video. Again, if you guys are interested to check out the sponsor for this video, which is EnjoyGM, I'll have the link in the description below. As per usual, subscribe, give this video a like, have a nice weekend, goodbye.